What's up, Christ Center Mental Health community? This is me, David Luchu Sarche, representing Christ Center Mental Health, the ministry where I talk about mental health awareness from a Christian perspective in order to give you real hope in Jesus' name by the power of the Holy Spirit to the glory of God the Father. Alright, before I get started on this video, I want to make a couple announcements real quick. For those of you that are new to this channel, I just want to tell you that this channel does have a Christ Center Mental Health Facebook discussion group and a Christ Center Mental Health Facebook discussion page. So you can either join and like the page, or you can join the group, or you could do both. Or you can either like or follow the page or join the group. The group and the page both serve the purpose of allowing the subscribers of this channel to interact with each other, interact with me, give me content ideas, and also to be updated on what's going on with the ministry. So another thing, me and my wife started a group called Holy Matrimony and Mental Illness. It's for those of you who are Christians, who are in marriage relationships, or you're engaged to be married, and one or both of you struggle with mental illness. It's for those of us who are in this boat, who need encouragement in our walk with the Lord, as we're married to someone with mental illness, or we have mental illness ourselves. We just encourage one another and fellowship together. So yeah. And then also there's the local Christ Center Mental Health Meetup. Please check those out if you live here in Toledo, Ohio. I'm trying to get together a meetup group. You have to download the Meetup app, and and it's for those of us who will be believers who struggle with mental illness, to meet together in local areas, such as coffee shops, or the library, or wherever, just to get together, have Bible studies together, fellowship over, and have discussions on faith and mental illness topics. So yeah, so there's that. I'm gonna post the links to all that in the description box below, so you guys can check that out for yourself and decide if any of them seem interesting to you. So my wife shared with me this article the other day, and I decided I wanted to talk about it because, it's clear, like, the article doesn't exactly say this person has mental illness, but I mean, as you could tell as I read the article, it's pretty obvious that he does. And my wife told me that the way people were responding to this article was pretty appalling. People were calling for death on this man, and people were mad. I get it, and they were just reacting out of emotion rather than being rational. But I mean, that still doesn't make it right. So I decided, I read the article, and I decided I wanted to respond to this article. I'm going to post a link to the article in the description box below, so you guys can read the article for yourself as well. But so let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. So the title of the article is titled, "Because I'm God, Man Who Shoved Asian Woman to Her Death on New York City Subway Has Decades-Long Rap Sheet." So it is true that a lot of people with mental illness do have a criminal history. However, the title of this news article, I don't know how I feel about it. First off, they don't mention that he has a mental illness. They just say, "Because I'm God," man, and they put in quotation that's what he said. But I mean, I don't know. Something about this title doesn't sit right with me. I mean, on the one hand, I know, mentioning that he has a mental illness could sensationalize the idea, or make the idea of mental illness more of a taboo in our society, because then people will continue to think that mental illness is people who are mentally ill are a danger to people. However, at the same time, by not mentioning that this man has a mental illness, now that this is gonna paint him in a picture of being this horrible racist that did this because he hates Asian people. And that's not the case. As I continue with this article, it's clearly not the case. This man had nothing against this woman. and he had like he obviously has some severe issues, like mental issues. So let me just continue. Um, okay, so it goes on. It says the fatal attack, which authorities deemed unprovoked, occurred at Times Square 42nd Street subway station at around 9:40 a.m. on Saturday. Michelle Alyssa Go, 40, was waiting for a southbound R train when Simone Marshall, 61, allegedly shoved her onto the tracks. Marshall, who was reported to be homeless, fled the scene but turned himself in less than an hour later, CNN reported. Like, it is telling, like, there is a high percentage of people who are homeless who struggle with mental health issues. And like I was saying, I was telling Eric Verby, my co-editor on the Christ Centered Mental Health Ministry page. I was telling him yesterday that, or I think I was either telling him or I told someone that I feel really, I feel really like my heart goes out to people who struggle with mental illness who are homeless because they really have no one. They really like they're really truly alone. Like and like I've said before, there's nothing worse when dealing with mental illness than being alone. And my heart breaks for people who suffer with mental illness who are alone. Like who are homeless because they have no one, they have nothing. And it's so I could just imagine this man, like the pain he was going through, the pain he must be going through every day of his life, being living on the streets. I don't know exactly what his mental illness is. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't diagnose him. But yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Um, So it goes on to say, police charged Marshall with second-degree murder. When reporters asked about his motive, he said the victim stole my effing jacket, according to New York Post. Marshall also claimed to be God. Yeah, because I'm God, he said. Yes, I did. I'm God, and I can do it. Now, this is a sure tell that he probably has like schizophrenia, or maybe has bipolar disorder and he was struggling with severe mania, because people with schizophrenia or severe mania do tend to like have delusional, like grandiose delusional thinking where they can think that they're God. And like granted, like if it wasn't for me being a Christian, I could be very well the very person who succumbs to the voices in my head telling me that I'm God, and I could be this guy right here. So I can sympathize with his plight. Um, so it goes on. He says, however, New York City Police Department Commissioner Key Chan Sewell said the incident appears to be unprovoked. She told reporters that the victim does not appear to have had any interaction with the subject. So obviously he had no he had no motive to want to hurt this woman. It's not that he hated her, it's not that he hated Asian people. He it was completely unprovoked. Like he had no animosity towards this woman whatsoever. So these people that are trying to make this story out to be like a racist story, like this guy hated Asian people, you guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. This guy was obviously mentally ill, and needs he obviously needs to he needs mental health treatment. He doesn't need to be condemned as a criminal and sentenced to death. He needs to have mental health. He needs to be treated for his mental health. Um uh and then it goes on to say, it says it says Wilcox said Marshall has a criminal history, noting three emotionally disturbed encounters on record. He was arrested in 1998 and again in 2017 for attempting to rob taxi drivers, according to WABC. Marshall has been arrested 10 times since 1998, New York's Daily News reported. While the latest attack is not being ruled as a hate crime, it has nonetheless struck fear in the Asian American community. Like, okay, so this right here, like, first off, I do want to say, like, again, it is very common for people who struggle with mental illness to have a criminal history because people misunderstand the nature of mental illness, and a lot of times when people with mental illness commit crimes, instead of throwing us in jail, they should put us in mental hospitals where we can get treatment. Like, that's, I firmly believe that. Like, I think people with mental illness will do better when, like, being put in a psychiatric ward than being put in jail when they commit crimes. Because then we can get treatment and we can get better and more stable, and then we won't commit the crimes anymore. But I want to say it is heartbreaking. Like, as an Asian American myself, like, it's heartbreaking to hear that Asian Americans are struck with fear by this story. Like, it's very sad. Like, I'm very disheartened by this because honestly, like, this just shows, just like, honestly, as much as I love Asian Americans and I fully support Asian Americans, this just shows just how ignorant Asian Americans are as a whole. Not all Asian Americans, but this shows how ignorant, like, generally Asian Americans are when it comes to mental health issues. And part of it is because mental illness is not something that Asians really talk about in their communities. Just like mental illness isn't really talked about in African American communities either, or Latin American communities. So it's definitely, like, this is just a testament to why mental health issues need to be discussed in your community. It needs to be, mental health awareness needs to be pushed out and, like, talked and spoken about and spread, because if it's not spread, if people aren't educated on mental health issues, then when people hear stories like this, their ignorance, like, causes them to be fearful. And then next thing you know, next time they see someone, like a homeless person on the street talking to themselves, they're going to cross the street and be scared to walk by them, even though studies have shown time and time again that schizophrenic person is most likely more of a danger to himself than others. And also, people with mental illness are more likely to be a victim of assault rather than be an assaulter themselves. Like, they would still be afraid of them. And, like, I mean, someone once told me that people fear those that they don't understand, and it's true. People do. They are afraid of what they don't understand, and so you get someone education, and they'll no longer fear. Like, then it goes on, talks about some Asians, some, like, it talks about how Asian Americans are being fearful and some other stuff. And I want to, like, and then like towards the bottom of the article, there's this part in there, this little blurb that says, there's a quote by this Adams guy, or I think, hold on, it's a quote by Mayor Eric Adams. He says, "We want to continue to highlight how imperative it is that people receive the right mental health services, particularly on our subway system," Adams said. "To lose a New Yorker in this fashion will only continue to elevate the fears of individuals not using our subway system." So I do like how he's talking about highlighting, um he talked about he wants to highlight right mental health services. I do like that. Like, I mean, hopefully he means that, and he actually does things to actually make this happen, because I we definitely do need more mental health services out there. We definitely need more mental health awareness. We definitely need more mental health education. And, like, the more people get enlightened on this topic of mental health issues, the more people will understand mental illness, and the more people will no longer fear people like me, people like this guy, people who suffer with severe mental illness. Like, and I do feel, I do feel bad for this guy. Like my heart goes out to this guy. I think like my prayers go out to him. I hope he's okay wherever he's at. It's like I don't know. Well, it says he turned himself in, so he's probably in jail now. So that's another thing. Like we need to pray for this guy that God will protect him in jail because people with mental illness do get mistreated in jail. Like I mean that I've seen studies about people with mental illness are more likely to get beaten up in jail or assaulted or killed or even raped in jail, like, or manipulated, taken advantage of. Like, so we need to pray for this guy that God will protect him and that the Lord will draw him to himself, that the Lord will reveal his gospel to this guy, because this guy, his only hope will only be in the gospel. Like, he's not going to find peace until he comes to know Christ. So we should pray that the Lord will meet him where he's at and draw this man to himself, because that's going to be this man's only hope of of finding everlasting peace. And also, I mean, I do feel bad for the victim's for the victim and her family too. I think this whole story is tragic. To be honest, like I feel bad for her. Like I mean, I think what happened to her is tragic. I think we should be praying for her family and her friends as well, that God will give them peace and comfort in this time of bereavement that they're in, and that God will use this situation to draw these people to himself and reveal his glory to them and his loving compassion to them and his salvation to them. And like I think that God will like keep his hand on their lives, and that God will use this situation for their good, all the people involved. He will use this situation for all their good and for his ultimate glory. Like, I firmly believe that. Like, I mean, Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. So, like, we can trust him on that. Like, however, I do not think this was a racist act. And I hope that people can understand that this was not a racist act, and that they need to stop trying to make this into a racist act and say that this guy is a racist who hated Asian people and he deserves to die for it, because that's wrong. He was not a racist. Like, he obviously was not a racist. This incident was unprovoked. He had no animosity towards this woman whatsoever. Like, and he obviously struggled with some severe mental illness of some kind. So, like, he needs prayer. He doesn't need the death penalty. Like, and he needs the gospel of Jesus Christ. He doesn't need the death penalty. So if you're one of those people out there that read this article and your initial reaction was this person deserves to die, well, then you need to check yourself. Honestly, you need to check your heart, because you're obviously not thinking in line with the bit with the Bible or with Christ. And if you claim to be a Christian and you're thinking that way, then you need to check your faith, because you're obviously like you're obviously not in line with the person with the faith that you profess. And I have no shame in saying this to you. I will boldly say this. Like, if you think that someone who struggles with mental illness, who who did this to this woman, if you honestly think that, like, then you need to check your faith. You need to examine your faith to see if you're even in the faith, because what you're believing is not in line with the Lord that you profess to follow. Like, and I do not apologize for saying this. Like, I am dead serious, and I think that you need to seriously examine yourself, because honestly, like, I don't know how anyone can profess to follow the Lord and think that they can live in such a condemning way towards the least, or towards some of the most vulnerable people in our society. And yes, mentally ill people, those of us who struggle with mental illness, we are some of the most vulnerable people in this society. So to be this condemning towards people like us, like, it's just unfathomable that you would be like this. And I just can't imagine why you would be like this and then profess to be a Christian. And this is why I firmly believe that a lot of people blaspheme God because of people like you. Yes, and if you believe this man deserves the death penalty, then yes, I'm talking about people like you. Like, the word of God is being blasphemed because of people like you, people who are judgmental and people who are quick to condemn people without knowing the full history, without knowing the full context of what's going on. Like, the people like you are the reason why the word of God is being blasphemed. Like, so anyway, so that's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. And if you find that this ministry has any kind of merit, please feel free to support the ministry via the Patreon account. You can give any amount that you want. It's between you and the Lord. I'll never ask you for a specific amount, so you can decide what you want to give. If you do give, it'll give you access to a private Discord community for online peer support and fellowship with other believers, and it'll also give you access to a daily devotional Monday through Friday on faith and mental health issues. And also, for a limited time, those of you who donate to the Patreon, a portion of the proceeds that I get from the Patreon account will go towards helping a friend of mine and my wife's at church, help her and her husband raise funds to adopt a child. So when you donate to the ministry, you'll be helping this mother, or you'll be helping this couple. Um, you'll be helping this child gain a family, pretty much. So yeah, there's that. Um, Please check out my Twitter and Tumblr account. I update on there frequently. And also check out my Defending the Faith Apologetics blog. And also check out the Christ Center Mental Health podcast as well. The links to all this will be in the description box below. So like, make sure you check these all out. And also, for those of you who are suffering with mental health, I do want to make myself available to you. Like, if you feel like you want to reach out to me and you you just need someone to talk to, you need some encouragement, or you just need someone to listen to you, like, feel free to give me a call at the um at the Christ Center Mental Health Ministry peer support line. You can call me anytime, day or night. um yeah, I'll make myself available. Like, it's I'll put the number in the description box below, so you can check that out for yourself. The number is 567-343-3727. Once again, that's 567-343-3727. So if you like, feel free to call me. If I don't answer right away, please leave a voicemail and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also, if you don't feel comfortable calling and you just want to email me, you can email me. The email will be in the description box below. It's just christcentermentalhealth@gmail.com. But yeah, so you can check that out as well. All right, that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, stay blessed and and stay strong in the Lord. All right, bye.